Hey Scorps, welcome to Eight of Cups Tarot. I've been working with your energy for a little bit. I tried actually multiple days to tap into that energy, and honestly, it was blocked solid. In fact, even today, breaking into this energy because I had figured maybe communication would be easier once Mars moved into Sag. It's flowing, but I'm not sure it's easier, if that makes any sense to you. But at least you guys are ready to talk. And that's really important. I think that's going to bring you guys a lot of relief, if nothing else, this month. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I pulled the cards, and it looks like January is going to be rough for you if you stay in the typical Scorpio energy, the fixed energy, because now is a time of transformation. And there's so much irony there because although Scorpio is all about the transformation and the rebirth, you're a fixed sign, so you're also extremely stubborn and hard to move. And I have a feeling with Uranus there in your 7th house opposing you, you may be breaking up some old patterns that you carry in relationships. Quite literally, some of the ways that you've gone about entering and exiting relationships, the death and rebirth process is being adjusted. And a couple of things came to me. Before I started shuffling the cards that I wanted to go over. You guys just got through, as I said, having Mars in Scorpio in your first house. And Mars in Scorpio can be the highest level of determination that one can have. And I know that because I have a Scorpio Mars placement. And quite similar to the aspects in your chart right now, mine is in my 9th house, which is where you are currently hosting the North Node and the eclipse that's coming up, and that energy is already building. So you have a lot going on between the way that you communicate and work with others and your inner beliefs, because both areas are going through a very deep transformation right now for you. As well, Mars left Scorpio, where you did a lot of internal processing, digging, and shadow work, maybe kind of the search for your truth. And now it moves into your 2nd house, into Sag. And one of the reasons Scorpios are known to be very good with money is because they defend it to the death. But that's not just money. That's their values. That's the things that they possess, the things that they claim are theirs. And if you belong to a Scorpio, you're never going to be let go. Scorpios will carry, although they transform and move on, they tend to carry all that pain with them from experience to experience, like a suitcase with goodies that they like to lug around until they can't carry it anymore. Another very Scorpio trait. And as well, you have Pisces moving through your 5th house, and Venus will be joining Pisces and Neptune over the next month and a half. We're looking at that. This week Venus moves into Pisces. It won't meet Neptune for a good 2.5 weeks from there. However, having Pisces in your 5th house is quite healing. And so you really turn to others, and you do enjoy communication when it's heartfelt, when it's open, when you feel free, like there are no boundaries and no judgments. The deep conversations is what Scorpio really enjoys. And so as this transits your fifth house, I think there may be some potential for healing these relationship patterns that you're experiencing right now. And quite literally, it is through a freedom of speech, of not being able to be who you are, getting rid of toxic relationships that you weren't yourself in. This is one of the things that Scorpios are going at. And that being said, after I initially pulled your cards, the overall energy, bottom of the deck, the Fool. The Fool, because he dropped his baggage, right? All those emotional wounds that he carried with him, he set them down. And this is a major transformation for you, Scorpios. This is really exciting. Although it may not be a pleasant process, by the end of it, as we flow into February and March, you're going to see your approach or your connection to things sort of disappearing. Resentments dropping, anger no longer being triggered. There's a freedom for Scorpios here. And a reminder for you, Scorps, that when this phase of these eclipses are over, we're moving into a North Node in Gemini, and that is in your 8th house. And Scorpios are quite comfortable in that 8th house. And so you're being prepared to really learn how to share and communicate with people on a very deep and intimate level. And that's important. So you have to work through these energies so that what you receive next, you could capitalize on. Intuitive images, they were showing me immediately when I started to meditate, I felt an expanding energy in my heart. Again, that can happen when you do the work and you release yourself from those resentments and disappointments that you've carried, and all of a sudden your heart is able to grow and open to new opportunities in which you're not judging those opportunities upon what the past has brought you. And then also at the same time, I was feeling a strengthening in my solar plexus. And that was the energy of speak up, speak my truth, be proud of who I am, detach from things that don't fit. I also heard them say, why didn't I do this earlier? And they were showing me a coffee cup. I don't know if they're trying to say this is going to be hard work, like roll up your sleeves. They were showing me like pouring in the coffee, like somebody being up all night really working. And I want to touch base with you because this conjunction, all this determination in the Capricorn energy is in your 9th house. So Scorpios, some of you may be considering going back to school, learning obtaining a higher degree. A lot of this could be choosing to travel or studying to travel or learning another language, and just really being determined in an area of your life that maybe isn't focused on relationships and love, kind of releasing this and moving on to a different type of passion. And in that, I think you might find some of the broken pieces of yourself. As we start off January, the first week, I got an Ace of Wands. which speaks to me about an opportunity that you're passionate about, an idea or an opportunity that really changes your outlook. It changes your demeanor. And next to that came in the Queen of Wands. And so that tells me that, Scorpios, you're taking on an energy, and maybe this is that Mars in Sag. You're taking on an energy of receiving, of allowing, of, I feel like this is allowing yourself to be noticed or to be seen. And here's another reason. We come upon the moon. And so this energy is really strong. That Mars in Scorpio in your first house was kind of illuminating the truth. Maybe the truth of a situation. Maybe you were dealing with a fire sign here. And you didn't have enough information until now, or until the end of the first week of January, which we're right about there. This could come also or represent the eclipse, meaning that this opportunity that you were so passionate for and ready to start didn't end up being what you thought it was. It may have come from a place of ego instead of sincerity, I'm being told. Who you were investing in or who had sparked this interest in you or this passion may have had their priorities wrong, and you just started to realize this, and the eclipse could bring out people's true identities. They could be very life-changing. So this could have been a real eye-opening moment for you, because rolling into the second week, we have the Ten of Swords in reverse. And so my guess is either this is a old relationship that continues to resurface, or this is one of those things where you start to realize you're essentially dating the same person but with a different face. It's always the same issues over and over again, and you keep taking the swords. You see, if it were upright, the situation would be dead, the cycle would be over, and you could move on, but you want to stay here. It's like you just want to keep learning these harsh truths. Every sword here is a really harsh truth, something, the backstabbing, the attack, real hits to your ego and to your self-esteem with this Ten of Swords. And you're choosing to stay there in a place of heartache. So your unwillingness to close out this cycle is causing you more heartache than just walking away. You're prolonging the healing process. And in that, I think you start to realize that you're missing out on other opportunities. I think you start to realize that by this stuck energy here, you're not available to collaborate with people. And when we come from this type of a place, it's hard to collaborate or be around other people. It's hard to want to be a part of society. This is someone who's been proven over and over to, you can't trust people. Don't trust love at all. This is a hardening of that heart chakra. And when you come from a place like that, you really are not open to new relationships, new friendships, and new opportunities to build with others that are around you or in your community. Guiding us into the third week. And guys, don't be afraid. Seems to be a theme for the third week collectively. So although this is a major arcana, and you do have a few in the reading, I think that in this third week of January, we're all realizing where we refuse to jump off the karmic wheel, okay? And that's the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. It's having to do the same lesson over and over and over until you get it right. And then wondering why, when you keep making the same mistakes, you know, your ships aren't coming in. You're not manifesting what you want. This is disappointment. This is wasted time, wasted years. This is stuck energy without being able to move on. And as Mars tours through Sag, we seem to want to bulldoze through that energy. But I also feel like this here could be some really harsh communication, some harsh truths that must be showed to you. These are stark realities that you're going to have to look at. And in the fourth week, I have Temperance in reverse, which tells me that you are not understanding the true meaning of alchemy. And that you don't have to be so defensive. It's not a, why does this always happen to me? It's a, why does this always happen for me? What am I supposed to do with this? How am I supposed to turn repeatedly bad situations and make them beautiful? And the answer to that is patience. So when this comes out following a Knight of Swords in reverse, I'm seeing a real lack of patience, Scorpio, and this could be vice versa. So if this isn't your energy, it's somebody that you're dealing with. But this is a lot of drama. This is a lot of harsh words. This is a lot of anxiety and panic. I see panic in this. And not being able to process or not giving something enough time to transform, to transcend. This is where metal is turned to diamond. You're not giving it enough space or time to grow. Maybe there is just a complete cutoff of communication. Because this is the end of moving towards this pattern. Maybe you're cutting somebody off when you realize that no matter how much you pour into this situation or how much you respond, they say something nasty and you shoot back something nasty, no one's going to win here. You're just being stuck in a cycle. And so the answer may very well be to completely cut this off. To understand that sometimes no communication is the perfect communication, because look what happens. You're no longer putting your energy into this hurt and this pain. I think you come out of the anxiety that it's causing you. I think you realize that just by having this person in your presence, you're being drained. It's like an energy vampire. And so you find yourself maybe up all night stressed over the situation that isn't worth it. And again, this could be the same relationship that you keep continuing to work on, but it could also be what you're ready to leave behind, what no longer is serving you, and what you are no longer willing to sacrifice your peace for. I'm going to get a couple clarifiers for the weeks. Okay. Well, those wanted to come out. Okay. Like I said, Scorps, I really feel like January may not be the best month, but I do really feel like you are going to come out of it somewhat satisfied, somewhat more energetic. Bottom of the deck. Okay, so let's clarify this a little bit farther because the clarifiers did confirm the energy that I was picking up from. And then I'm going to pick a couple of astrology cards for you and an animal spirit card for your energy. The clarifiers for your Ace of Wands, Queen of Wands, and the Moon are the Empress and the Magician in reverse. So, Scorps, I heard somebody say, but why? I'm doing everything right. I'm manifesting in the right way. Why do I keep getting these people? Why do I keep getting people that want to manipulate me, that want to... There are power struggles, there's lying, deceit, but the Magician in reverse, it's not just stumbling upon bad intentions, it's honestly attracting energy vampires and narcissists to you. And why? Why is this happening? Well, because Scorpios, sometimes, even if we are healed inside, even if we are attracting from the right place and keeping our vibration high, coming from a place of creativity on fertility, this can still happen. And then there's the whole question of, well, then why bother, right? Why bother with any of it? So I think this is kind of the attitude that you have when this moon card, maybe around the eclipses or the full moon in Gemini, when you realized what you were actually dealing with. And then in that second week, with the 10 of Swords in reverse, the 3 of Swords, and the 3 of Pentacles, clarified with the 5 of Wands in reverse, and the King of Pentacles in reverse. Scorpio, you are now seeing the situation for what it is and for what it truly always was. A person that you thought was a stable entity, a provider, a nurturer, the perfect spouse, the perfect boss, the perfect everything, ended up breaking your heart. He ended up being this instead. And you end up realizing you have to quit fighting for this. And it's no longer worth your energy to change it or to change this person's mind or to fight for justice. I feel some of you are angry at a situation and you're really demanding justice. But as you are demanding justice in a situation, you are starting to realize that you're just reliving the trauma over and over again. And that explains the Wheel of Fortune upside down, the 3 of Wands upside down, and the Knight of Swords upside down. You have not made a decision yet. You're not willing to cut this off completely. There's more you want to uncover. I think you're on a mission to clear up any confusion that's left behind from this. With the King of Swords, you're sort of going about it in a frantic and emotional manner. The King of Swords is kind of that person that could sweep through a village and kill all the wives and children in order for seeking revenge. But in all honesty, none of that action was needed. They just had to walk away. They just had to decide to let it go. So check that energy, because really you're draining yourself. And again, that's the message with Temperance in reverse, 8 of Wands in reverse, and the 9 of Swords in reverse. Got a lot of reversals. The Hanged Man in reverse. Two of Wands in reverse. And the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. So, I'd like to also point out that in this reading we have a Queen of Pentacles reversed along with the King of Pentacles reversed. And this is really telling me that there is an end to a very deep soul contract at this time. And that's okay. That's okay. It's time. It's time to put those lessons down. If you notice also, we have a Queen of Wands in the upright, but we have a King of Swords in reverse. So it also warns me that maybe your thoughts are starting to really control the rest of your life. Maybe all of the anxiety and the worry that you put into this, you're starting to realize that other areas of your life are are crumbling around you, and that you really do need to change your perspective quite fast. You cannot resist this enlightenment. You can't resist this sudden intuition to walk away, because nothing else can come in right now. You're blocking yourself from moving and from growth. And the soul contract simply has to end. It simply has to end. You have outgrown it. Scorpios, now is the time with this great awakening and the great conjunction that we're all trying to tell everybody about. This is a time of great transformation from within. And sometimes you do the work and you change, but your partners or your family members or your friends or the environment that you work on, those things don't change. And we have to learn to let them go so that we can continue to grow. And it doesn't mean it didn't mean anything. It didn't mean that it wasn't worthy of you or that these people were even necessarily bad people. It was just a phase that you had outgrown. And sometimes Scorpios, much like many of our water signs, a lot of their prolific life lessons are revolving how to let people go. That's exciting. This one flew out earlier. I don't take these astrology cards in reverse. So this is actually really beautiful, because first we get the air element. Okay? And Scorpio, what you're feeling right now is that you kind of have to get out of your element. And I mean that with all due respect, but you guys tend to like to stay in the dark. You tend to like to hold on to feelings of maybe I don't trust people, but I'm okay with not trusting people. Or, you know, I keep emotional things kind of at arm's length, but I want to know how other people feel, but I don't want anyone to know how I feel. That's kind of a Scorpio thing. And so the air element is being addressed here. And this is kind of allowing yourself to get into a place where there's a lot of mental activity, a lot of heavy mental chatter. And I will warn you that binge watching tarot readings, it won't help, okay? It really won't. Now, I don't want you to turn mine off right now, but in all honesty, there could be 1,000 different ways a situation can go, and instead of looking at it with your intuition and with your emotions, you're kind of overanalyzing and intellectualizing something that needs to be felt. And with that, you have the yod, the destiny. And when destiny card comes out, it means that you're allowing the universe to sort of take over. And that divine timing has to step in. You know, I see these memes all the time. I like the one that they didn't leave you. We had to move them out of the way so you could find your path. You know, it's that kind of feeling. And so if you stop looking at it and trying to process it in your mind, in your head, to wrap your head around a situation that seems so confusing, you have to go from a place of emotions and understand that this was meant to happen. There's a greater purpose. You have a greater plan. You need to look at it from a higher perspective to understand it. Because remember the Temperance card in reverse? It's a Sag card. And again, fifth house, creativity, the house of Leo. It's the house of where we allow ourselves to shine. And I think that by letting this go, by letting all of this old patterns and baggage go for you, you could really step into a place of creativity and fertility and fun and happiness in your life, where you don't feel lacking, you don't feel like anyone is stabbing you in the back anymore. It comes from a really solid place of understanding yourself. And then allowing yourself to be yourself with partners, to open up. You know, there's a lot of transformation in there from where you would typically approach a relationship. And spirits and guides, please share with me an animal energy for our Scorpios for the month of January 2020. Let the Scorpios understand the kind of energy that they need to harness during this major transition in their lives. That's beautiful. You got the hummingbird. And guys, pay attention here if you notice the red in his throat chakra. Again, that's what I'm thinking with maybe the needing to communicate the disappointments and then let them go. Look, this is an air element as well. You see a lot of Scorpios going to be speaking their truths, and that could be a little scary. Could be a little intimidating. Guys, warning though, honestly, with Mars going through Sag, like in the energy right now, don't provoke, okay? Speak your truth and do it in a good Jupiterian way, where you could find a way to empower yourself. Look at situations from a higher perspective with spiritual wisdom, because if you just come in from a dark place and start yelling and swearing and spewing hatred, that's not going to get you very far in this energy. What Spirit wants you to be is the hummingbird. Positive, enthusiastic, and spiritually resourceful. Inside the tiny hummingbird resides an endless well of energy and positivity. Do you hear that, Scorps? I heard some Scorpios say this ain't gonna be easy. The hummingbird's secret is that it has learned where to gather nectar, and it returns to these sources daily for nourishment and rejuvenation. This sacred elixir springs from many sources, but usually involves nature, creativity, and exploring spirituality. Follow the way of the hummingbird, and you cannot go wrong. Every droplet of life becomes sweet, every moment worth savoring. When in balance, you are smart, curious, and you love to learn. But when out of balance, you are pushy, insistent, and sharp. To bring into balance, take a class. That could have been that. I pick up on a lot of Scorpios that may be walking away from relationships and choosing to maybe go back to school, or travel, or just broaden their horizons and their mind. Maybe take some time and get into nature. You know, there's a beautiful transition there. But take a break. Take a break and know that, you know, things don't always have to be like that. And it's up to you to kind of just change that energy. All right, Scorpios, I hope you have a wonderful January. I'll be checking in soon, and I send you lots and lots of love. Bye.